just taking a walk into the village of Hoxne in Suffolk, one of England's most historic villages. And in this video we'll come across the martyrdom of a saint, discover a lot of history in the village, and head up to the church, which is quite historic in its own right. But what I want to look at first is St Edmund's Hall, and that's just down here. This hall was built by the Kerrison family of Oakley Park. It was built for the village in 1879. Built as a reading room, and the architect was a man called James Kellaway Colling. And I'll talk more about Sir Edward Kerrison a little later in the video when we get up to the church. But what I've come to see is the stone tablet which is on the side of the building, and it reads, "Near this spot St Edmund the King was taken prisoner and slain by the Danes in the year AD 870. Just round the corner from here there used to be an ancient wood, and there was an oak tree, and this is the oak tree that St Edmund was tied to and shot with arrows. And here it is. This is the monument. What a fantastic structure it is. It's undergone some renovation by the Hoxne Millennium Project back in 2001. This marks the location where the oak tree stood, where Edmund was tied to and shot with arrows, martyred in the year 870. That event was documented in the Anglo-Saxon Chronicles. The tree fell down on its own accord in 1843. The exact location of the oak tree isn't known, but this is the vicinity of that martyrdom back in the year 870. It's absolutely splendid that it has been marked, and the location, the known location, has survived. It was really interesting seeing that monument in the field, the location of the martyrdom. But on the top of the building is a little statue of Edmund, and underneath there's a carved stone tablet which depicts Edmund hiding under a bridge. Absolutely wonderful to see that. The architect was a man, well, the sculptor was a man called Henry Elmes. He was a man from Exeter. But you can see on the side of the building the bridge in the stonework, the pattern of the bridge. Got the triangular supports and the railings going across the top. And that's really interesting to see. Absolutely ornate building. It certainly had an eye for building buildings back in 1879. I think for a village hall, this is one of the nicest buildings that I've come across. Stonework really is quite beautiful to look at. St Edmund was King of East Anglia from around 855 to his death in 870. And his feast day is the 20th of November. And he's the patron saint of kings, pandemics, wolves, torture victims, and protection from the plague. Interesting collection there for his patronage. But the bridge he was found under was the Goldbrook Bridge, and it's just here next to the village hall. I'm going to walk this way round and take a look at the underneath. Just walk through the shrubbery here. You can see the railings of the bridge, which match those on the brickwork of the village hall. Absolutely beautiful. And there are wooden supports for the old bridge here as well. But this is the location. You can still get under the bridge as well. That is so interesting to see. The location of where Edmund was found. And also there's martyrdom as well. Such an incredible amount of history that is here in this village. We haven't even got into the village yet. But there's a stone tablet here as well which says King Edmund, taken prisoner here AD 870, Saint and Martyr. And there's another plaque on the other side of the bridge. Absolutely beautiful. It really is to see that. So interesting. It's always nice to see locations linked to saints. I don't think it comes any better than St Edmund the Martyr. He really should be our patron saint of England. St George didn't really exist in the form that we know him today. But Edmund did. He lived and he died here in Hoxne. And he's buried, St Edmund's, in the old cathedral there. The cathedral was pulled down after the dissolution of monasteries in around the late 16th century. And that's where he was buried. And hence the name of the town, Bury St Edmund's, because it's where they buried St Edmund. Definitely would support him being recognised as our patron saint. I really would. But let's walk into the village and see what else we can discover, because there are a few surprises still to be found. It's only a short walk from the village hall into the village itself. And it's quite a beautiful day. About 24 degrees is the forecast. Rather pleasant. But this is the pub, the old Swan pub. Formerly known as the Bishop's Lodge, built in around 1480 by the Bishop of Norwich. And when he didn't need it anymore, the bishops didn't need it, it became a pub in 1640. And the first recorded landlord was a man called John Austin. There's a lot of lorries which are going through this village. It's about the fifth one that's passed me in the last 5 minutes. Looking up at the pub, it really is quite a magnificent building. Absolutely beautiful. Centre of the village, village pub. And we've got a ghost sign here in the shop. Hovis. Don't just say Brown, say Hovis. Former bakery, perhaps. It's always nice to see a ghost sign. I think it was a bakery dating around to around 1900. Really pleasant. And the Hoxne post office, delicatessen and tea rooms. Don't think the tea rooms are operating. Seems to be a little bit empty in there. And a post box as well. And a K6 telephone box. Designed in 1935 to commemorate the Silver Jubilee of King George V. And it's the most popular type of telephone box you see on the streets around in England. Nice to see they started rolling them out from 1936 onwards. Absolutely lovely. And someone's village library. That's nice. Nice that they've been repurposed. Everyone has mobile phones these days, so nobody actually needs a public telephone box. Designed by Sir Giles Gilbert Scott. I think he designed Liverpool Cathedral as well. Really pleasant here, apart from the traffic. But this is the village green. They used to hold weekly markets here, but I don't think they've done it for a number of years. But it's really rather pleasant just looking at the architecture. There's quite a few thatched cottages in here as well. You can see here this one, Market House. So perhaps that's a nod to when they used to hold markets here. This is what an English village is like. Quintessential English village. Lovely architecture, village pub, lots of history. And open spaces as well. It's quite pleasant just sitting here, looking down the road towards the pub and the village sign which depicts the oak tree And there's a crown as well with some arrows depicting the event of the martyrdom of Edmund, King of East Anglia. Just sitting here, you can just imagine Miss Marple just walking out of the village shop, walking back to a cottage. And in fact, they did actually film an episode of Miss Marple here. It's an episode called The Moving Finger, back in 1985. It was Joan Hickson playing Miss Marple. In the fictional village of Limston, it was plagued by vile anonymous letters. Miss Marple is not convinced that everything was in order. And she got to work and solved the problem of who was sending out the letters. But they filmed it here in the centre of the village. Quite a few scenes were in the village, and also down at the village hall as well. And that episode is on YouTube if you want to watch it. It's quite a good adaptation, The Moving Finger. But it was not the only film location here as well. Another film called Unnatural Causes, back in 1993. Commander Dalgleish of Scotland Yard investigated the apparent murder of a well-known author who was found floating in a dinghy with his hands chopped off. And they filmed a lot of that here in the village of Hoxne. It's nice when villages are used in television and film adaptations. It really brings the village to life in a completely different setting. And to see the opening scenes of that Miss Marple with the sports car driving down the hill into the village, stopping outside the post office, really is an excellent scene. Really is. Well worth watching. It's quite a fun film. Well, I suspect that most people know Hoxne from the Hoxne Hoard. This was found in 1992. It was the largest hoard of Roman silver and gold discovered in Britain, comprising some 30,000 coins, gold and silver spoons, jewellery, bowls and small dishes as well. Back then it was worth around 1.75 million. But in 2025 values, that's about 5 million. And the two detectorists, because it was declared treasure, were awarded the value of the hoard. They shared the money between them. But there's been an occupation here going back some 4 million years. They found Neolithic axes as well, a hand axe from the lower Paleolithic period. So there's been occupation here for quite a long while. And it's one of England's historic villages. But let's head on now up towards the church and see what we can discover up there. And hopefully it'll be open, because there's a few things inside that I'd like to show you as well. So let's head on up to the church. This is an absolutely beautiful church. It's the Church of St. Peter and St. Paul, and it dates from the 14th century. The tower stands around 27 metres tall, which is around 90 feet. It's quite splendid to look up at it. It's built by the second Duke of Suffolk, a man called John de la Pole, around the year 1450. And I just had a look inside. It's equally as beautiful inside as it is on the outside, and there's a lot of history here as well. Now the font dates around 1465. Absolutely beautiful carvings on the side of the font. They also have an old chest in there. It's the old parish chest, and it dates from 1360, so it's probably come from another church or was donated from somewhere else. But it's secured by 7 locks, one for each of the trustees of the parish. Today it props up a display cabinet, but it's nice to see these old parish chests in a church. But what's interesting for me is the rood screen in there, and it dates from 1880, and it's made from the St Edmund's oak. This was the oak that Edmund was tied to and shot with arrows. Fell down on its own accord in 1843, and they used the wood to make that rood. Just amazing. Touch history. Absolutely incredible. And it's paid for by Sir Edward Clarence Kerrison, who was born on the 2nd of January 1821 in Brighton and died at Broome Hall, not too far from here, on the 11th of July 1886. And he was also the MP for the Borough of Eye. I've come across his father before, another Sir Edward Kerrison. So yeah, nice to make another connection to the Kerrison family. And the baronet, when Edward Clarence Kerrison died, the baronet, the title also died with him as well, because he had no heirs. What struck me about the inside was the medieval paintings on the north wall of the nave. It dates around 1390, 1400. And the themes are St Christopher bearing Christ, the seven deadly sins, and the acts of mercy and the Last Judgment. Absolutely incredible to see medieval paintings that have survived. There are loads of interesting wall plaques in there as well, some quite impressive ones to local people and to past vicars as well, who have died and were buried inside the churchyard here, and their memorials are in the church as well. There's a couple there that really stood out. There's one to HMS Captain. Now this was a ship that capsized in a gale on the 7th of September 1870 off of Cape Finestra, and the captain was a man called Hugh Talbot Burgoyne, and he died in the gale, went down with the ship and was buried at sea. But they have some flags in there as well, and these are the flags from HMS Captain, and they were rescued from the sea by HMS Agincourt and presented to the church by a family member, Evelyn Burgoyne. And Captain Burgoyne died aged 37 in that gale, born on the 17th of July 1833 in Dublin. And he was quite a remarkable man. He was a seafaring captain all his life, and on 29th of May 1855 in the Seas Azov in Crimea, Lieutenant Burgoyne, as he was there, serving on HMS Swallow, and two companions from two other ships volunteered to land on a beach where the Russian army were in strength. They were out of range from covering gunshots from their ships, so they were on their own, and they had a mission. They met considerable opposition from the Russians, but they achieved their mission and managed to set fire to corn stores and the ammunition dump, destroying other military equipment as well, before heading back to their ships. And at the time of that daring raid, he was only 21 years old. He received the Victoria Cross for bravery. It reads like a modern-day commando raid. Quite incredible. Even more incredible to receive the Victoria Cross, aged just 21. But he wasn't the youngest recipient of the Victoria Cross, because that goes to a man called Andrew Fitzgibbon, who was 15 years old and 3 months, working as a medical orderly at the capture of the Taku Fort in northeast China on the 21st of August 1860. And he attended the wounded in open ground, and he was shot several times. Absolutely incredible. He survived as well. Absolutely amazing to think of that bravery, helping others in the middle of a battle. And Thomas Flynn and Jack Cornwell were both aged 16 when they won theirs posthumously at the Battle of Jutland in 1916. suppose as contrast I should mention the oldest person to receive the Victoria Cross, a man called William Rayner, who was 61 years old and 10 months when he was awarded the medal for his actions during an Indian mutiny in 1857. Bravery of Victoria Cross winners just know no bounds. They put others first, or their mission first, in selfless acts of bravery. Countries should be very proud of all their Victoria Cross recipients. But sitting here in the sunshine really is absolutely lovely. Just looking up at the church and that magnificent tower. But this is where I'm going to end the video here, outside the church. What an interesting village it's been to walk around. Location for the martyrdom of a saint and Miss Marple. Absolutely brilliant. So thank you so much for watching. If you want to see more, there's more for members on my members channel from other English villages, and we'll see you soon for another video from somewhere else. Thanks for watching.